Okay, the Game Awards 2025 just wrapped up. The show went on for 3.5 hours when you include the pre-show. So it's been a night. But I wanted to give my initial reaction to it, and then tomorrow morning I will go through everything that was announced here. So if you missed the show or were unable to sit watching it the whole time, I'll give you a pretty good wrap up, hopefully in a much shorter amount of time. But I wanted to go over some of the announcements here, and yes, it did finally happen. Capcom heard me, so we'll look at that as well. So if you guys enjoyed the video, hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, and let me know down in the comments what you thought about the Game Awards from Jeff Keighley. Now, I mostly wanted to go over the show itself, which, look, no matter what at this point, if this thing is going to go for 3+ hours, 3.5 hours with the pre-show, it's always going to feel like it runs too long, and it felt like it ran too long again tonight. And a lot of that comes down to there are a bunch of games that are shown. If a game that's being shown isn't for you, and then another game comes up and it's not really something you're interested in, then the same thing again, you're going to go 15 or 20 minutes without there being anything that really grabs your attention. And then it's going to feel like, wow, this is like a down point in the entire show. And that's just the nature of the beast with how long Jeff wants these shows to be and how many games he packs in here. And at times, I'll look at a game and I go, that's interesting that one got through. And no different here this year. And there's one game in particular I'll point out as we go through it. But I will say this, started off with a bang, a new Star Wars game. But not just any Star Wars game. This is directly targeted at fans of Knights of the Old Republic. Okay, so we have Star Wars Fate of the Old Republic. A good title there, I think. And, well, it hasn't been great for fans of Knights of the Old Republic recently with what happened with that remake where it seemed like it was in turmoil and it's been shifted around between studios. So while we didn't see that, this one is a brand new single-player RPG in the Old Republic era. Seems like it's going to be basically Knights of the Old Republic 3, as they are bringing in Casey Hudson, who I'm sure longtime fans of Mass Effect or KOTOR know who that is. They will be leading the development here. And while their last game was technically Anthem, I believe, I mean, maybe some redemption here. So that and Arcanaut Studios, we'll see how that turns out. I mean, this is early stuff, I figure. They showed like a cinematic trailer, and then that was kind of it. But there is now some hope for KOTOR fans out there. We'll see how this one turns out. We had the statue, the mystery statue. We had the answer to that. It was indeed Divinity that had already leaked out there through what looked like copyright filings. The CG trailer caught some flack. And I think it's because it was, overly violent for some reason. It was, maybe it was to catch attention and discussion. Kind of reminds me a bit of what feels like forever ago now when we saw the Last of Us Part 2 trailer. And the one girl got like her arm bashed in around her elbow, and that was a big talking point. Like, wow, that seemed really grisly for what's supposed to be an award show that's for general audiences. Well, I tell you in the beginning that there's a viewer discretion advised, and certainly for this one, it was almost in graphic detail of the person being burned alive and then having their arms ripped up. It was a whole thing. Definitely a weird trailer. They didn't show anything about the game itself, technically, in terms of gameplay, but it is a continuation, apparently, of the Divinity series. So we'll see, I guess, more about that when they're ready to show it. Resident Evil Requiem, which we have seen multiple times. It's coming out here in a few months. We finally got our look at Leon Kennedy, and what's even better, he's playable. And this was already something that was kind of talked about a bit. The idea of there being the two protagonists set up where you have Grace and Leon does seem to be the case. It mentions that their story will intertwine. Leon's going to be much more action-based, and I guess Grace is going to be more refined and more puzzle-oriented, would be my assumption, as she's not going to be running around like Leon, just taking everybody out. So at least that, to me, makes sense, the way that they're approaching it. And it would even maybe extend the life of the game in terms of replayability and stuff, depending on how this is exactly set up. They did this weird thing where they had the Street Fighter movie cast come out on stage, and they took this shot at Mortal Kombat 2, the movie. Oh, they're here. No, they're not. They just care about money. I'm not really sure what to think of this movie. So it's going exclusively in theaters next year. That's fine. I don't know. It has like a comedic tone to it. They're not taking it very seriously, and it's kind of hard to take it seriously because the cast itself is you look at half the characters and you recognize them from something else. I think it was 50 Cent as Balrog was trending on social media just because it a lot of it just looks ridiculous. But again, it seems like they're leaning into that with the tone of the movie. So I would look at it as more a good popcorn flick, although I don't think anyone was going, that Street Fighter is going to be up for Oscar consideration in 2026. So hopefully they just have fun with it and it's something. And look, it can't be as bad as the old Street Fighter movies way back when. All right. Tomb Raider. Heard about these in leaks, of course, going into it. Heard that there were going to be 2 Tomb Raider games, and indeed there are. We have Tomb Raider Legacy of Atlantis. That is a remake, I believe, of the first Tomb Raider game. That's 2026. And then Tomb Raider Catalyst. While we didn't see much about Catalyst in the way of gameplay or in-game or anything for it, because Legacy of Atlantis is coming out in 2026, we assume it's out in less than a year. They did show more about that. I think it looks good. I mean, I think the character model for Lara Croft looks great. I think what they showed there with the gameplay, it seems like the controls you would assume will be more modernized or updated, because I know there's a lot of nostalgia for Tomb Raider. If you go back and play it, it's rough, and it's going to be really rough for the newer generation that comes in and attempts to play it, and the controls just aren't great. So to me, this makes sense. This is a situation where, yes, you go back, you remake it. I know we've had like remakes technically of like the older Tomb Raider games, but at this point, why not do it again and have 2 different Tomb Raider games look forward to 2026 and 2027. So awesome reveal, I feel like, for the Tomb Raider fans out there. And I wanted to mention the other Star Wars game, Galactic Racer. Okay, so I saw this and wondered if it was immediately Pod Racer. Doesn't appear to be. I mean, I assume they'll have some Pod Racers in there maybe, but this is from Fuse Games. That's a new studio that was formed from ex-Criterion developers, and they did Need for Speed and Burnout. And as you're watching, you see them crashing into each other and things are blowing up. And I went, okay, it looks kind of Burnout-esque there. So I think this could be kind of cool. It's just we're getting a lot of Star Wars games, and I mean, why not? Like, the universe for that franchise is massive. There's all kinds of gameplay styles that adapt to that universe. So why not go crazy and license the thing out all over the place, provided they are unique enough. Like, you don't want, I feel like, a bunch of RPGs stacked next to each other, like a bunch of KOTORs or a bunch of action adventure games like what we have right now with the Jedi, like Fallen Order, Jedi Survivor series. So it seems like they're doing enough to change things up so you can have a string of Star Wars games come out even multiple times in the same year and it feel fresh. Phantom Blade Zero, we got the release date. That's September 9th, 2026. And I mean, the game already looks good. I will say, not just me, but a lot of these Unreal Engine 5 games or Unreal Engine games in general over the last several years, they are looking similar more and more as they keep getting shown. So that's something I hope that they think about more as they get towards something like Unreal Engine 6. It's like, how can we actually change up the way some of these games look? But I think Phantom Blade Zero, it's been talked about for a while now. It was almost unbelievable the first time it was shown. It still looks good here, I would say. And I think the biggest thing to me that stands out are that the bosses look very interesting with some of the mechanics and the setups for them. And the choreography, animations, that's still off the charts for it. So Phantom Blade Zero, I think looks awesome. And yes, the big reveal, we're getting another Mega Man game. And that good, because Capcom has been blowing my mind ever since Mega Man 11 came out, and they just kind of stopped. We hadn't heard anything about Mega Man. Well, I shouldn't say that. They've been doing a lot of collections, kind of just reminding people, hey, Mega Man is a thing, guys. You know, just throwing it out there. Here's some collections. And that's great because you can kind of test the market. How will the market respond to Mega Man Zero? How will they respond to the Battle Network series? You know, what about Mega Man X? And just kind of see how things go sales-wise. But Mega Man actually has been picking up some steam in terms of sales. Battle Network sold very well. The collection like rapidly ran to 1 million units. And then we see the Secret Level episode with the Amazon series that happened. I thought it was cool, but it was like, I don't know, 8-9 minutes or something. It was pretty short. So I like the fact that they are remembering that Mega Man is a thing and they can tap that franchise. And I do want to stop and give Capcom some credit here, because what we're seeing right now in gaming is a lot of safe plays. And I don't know how safe Mega Man necessarily is anymore, since you have to try to come up with new ideas for it, and you have to try to make it feel a 2D action platform game like that, feel like it could be worth $60 even. I don't know if they're going to get there with Mega Man Dual Override, but at least they're making an attempt here and they're doing something with it. Now, Capcom is doing the opposite of what I notice a lot of companies currently doing, where they, again, will focus in on a couple of IPs and they'll stick with it, right? Iteration after iteration after iteration. Capcom still does that. They'll give us a Monster Hunter, they'll give us the Resident Evils and stuff like that. But now we're like, oh, here's a new Okami game. They're bringing back Onimusha. Okay, let's try Mega Man. It seems like they are making a lot of money, again, from Monster Hunter and Resident Evil, and they're going, okay, we'll still make those. But what else can we maybe apply this formula to that makes sense? So yeah, take a shot at something like Mega Man again. Dual Override, looking at it, it's going to be on the PS4 and the Switch 1 in 2027. So the PS4 lives on 14 years after it came out at this rate. But it does remind me very much of Mega Man 11, kind of in the art style and the way it looks. And when I see the Dual Override, it does make me think of like Double Gear. So I assume maybe they'll be playing off of that a bit more, where you can slow time or power up and maybe come up with other little wrinkles to that for it. And, when they were showing it, they went down the hallway. And look, credit to Jeff Keighley for understanding that Mega Man is still that storied franchise that's been around. We're talking about this on the original Nintendo. It's been there in the States alongside of something like Mario this whole time. So I will give Jeff credit for bringing out the orchestra, playing it up kind of like Okami a little bit with how that got a big introduction. Mega Man does deserve that just for the lineage. And I think it was really cool to see that, because I'm watching and they're going down the hallway and they get to the end and I'm like, that hallway looks kind of Mega Man. And then the door, that was a little Mega Man, and it opens up and there's the blue bomber. I'm like, all right, there we go. Great. 2027, little disappointing, because that makes me feel like Capcom realized, oh, wait, we do have Mega Man like 2 years ago. I don't know. I mean, Mega Man 11, it's people don't realize that game came out. Oh my gosh. I'm going to say it was 2018. Yeah, 2018. And 7 years ago. So people forget it has been that long. But here we go with the 12th. It's right now, it's not labeled Mega Man 12, but it is the 12th entry in the Mega Man series according to its description. So maybe they're going a different route and they're just going to drop this Dual Override on it. And then the closeout was weird to me. So it's Highguard. And this is the moment where I stop and wonder if maybe this, it's not one that was calling to me, but maybe it was a situation of, am I old? Because a PvP raid shooter, and they do the thing, which you should if you have developers behind things like what Apex Legends, Titanfall 2, you call those games out just to be like, hey, they know what they're doing. So take a look at this. The mixture of guns and fantasy. And so you're on horseback, but then you also have a shotgun along with your axe and hammers. And January 26, 2026, and it's a free-to-play game. So I guess the big thing is it's been built up for a while now, and it's ready to go next month. So free to play PvP fans, I'm sure we're really excited. It was a little surprising to me that was the final reveal. I don't know if maybe Mega Man could have been if Capcom had more to show, which once again didn't seem like they had a lot to show for Mega Man Dual Override. Makes me wonder about when they realized they still had Mega Man. But it's interesting that was the closeout over maybe some of the other games they could have put there. Like, I know they wanted to open with Star Wars Fate of the Old Republic. Would it have been a better closeout to have Star Wars, the new KOTOR game, to finish things off? I kind of feel like it would have been, but I don't know. Maybe Highguard was maybe it's worth more money. It could have been that simple. It's come down to business. But let me know what you guys think about the Game Awards down below. And yes, Claire Obscure Expedition 33 did win Game of the Year. I almost wonder if it got a little awkward for them, because they kept winning and they kept having to go up on stage. And at some point, people in the audience got to be giving them the side eye, like, oh, they win again. Wow, shocking. The Claire Obscure Expedition 33 award goes to Claire Obscure Expedition 33. It's kind of how it felt the whole show. But either way, it wasn't a bad show. It just, once again, felt like it went on too long. I think I have this as a solid B. And yeah, some of that plays into Mega Man is an awesome reveal. Cool to see there being a new Mega Man game. Looking forward to that in 2027. But also Tomb Raider looked good, both of them. Resident Evil Requiem, man, the hype is really getting up there for that game now. And having a new KOTOR coming out of this, bringing back Casey Hudson and stuff, set up for it. Not bad, Jeff. Not bad. Well, let me know what you guys think about this one down below in the comments. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.